Hello, and today I'm going to start a video series. This is going to be about a watch that I'm going to create from scratch. I'm not going to focus too much on movements and mechanisms, i.e. I'm not making all the cogs and trying to put a balance wheel in and that kind of thing. I'm not that skilled as a watchmaker. But I'm going to make the case, possibly I'm going to make the strap. The design's going to come out of my head, and it's going to be quite different to most watches that you've seen. I'm not trying to copy anyone else's design. This video I'm just going to talk through some of the materials that I'm using and some of the techniques possibly. You can see in the background here, as I talk to you, a few shots of me cutting some silver which I'm going to send off for a hallmark. But the main part of this video is just going to talk through the materials. I intend to make different videos explaining different problems and how I'm going to solve them. And hopefully at the end I should end up with a watch which is made out of fine materials, that is hopefully attractive and a little bit different, a little bit out of the ordinary. It's always satisfying to have something that you made with your own hands. So this is my number one watch. Who knows if it will lead to me making others, but we will see. Some materials for my watch. That is 9-carat wire, which I might use to make some screws possibly. This is 2mm thick 9-carat yellow. This I was going to make some lugs from, because I figured if I made lugs from silver, silver's quite soft, maybe the steel from the spring bars will dig into it. 9-carat's a bit harder. That weighs a fair amount. I would have liked it to be 3mm thick, but because of cost I've gone for 2mm, and I might put little shoulders on it in silver on the outside. That's 9-carat white gold, which I'm going to use for the dial. It's 0.5mm thick, so I'll drill a hole in the centre where the hands will come through. Maybe I'll thin it down, maybe I'll leave it square. But on top of that, I might put some sort of bezel. I was thinking, that's a piece of copper that I've just cut out. So, that could be on top. Because we need to create a space for the hands to occupy, so that the hands don't hit the case elsewhere. I don't know how much room needs to be. That's 1mm thick. It's not going to be enough to protect the hands. The hands need a bigger space than that, I think. But until I get those hands and I get the movement, nothing I can do. This is 18-carat white gold. It's square wire, 1.5mm thick. My plan was to make this into a circle and solder it, tap it round on a ring stick, a triplet. That will go around the edge of the glass. Don't know whether the glass is going to be cemented in, or maybe I'm going to have to put a taper on it so that it's angled and the glass can spring into it if I use a plexiglass. But I've got sapphire mineral crystal. That is 18-carat yellow gold. I had two pieces of this. One of them's gone away for a hallmark, and it's going to be the back of the case. This is going to be the front of the case with a hole cut in it for the glass to go in. It's going to be a square case with a fairly small window for the hands. It's almost ladies size dial, but with a square case, and then the case is going to be made larger by lugs coming out on either end, so it's going to be rectangular rather than square. Got to cut a little piece off there to make that square. I'm working at not an ideal situation. I haven't got a proper bench. This is just a garage, and so if I'm cutting on here, I'm going to be losing gold onto the floor. Normally you'd have some sort of skin underneath to catch all the falling debris so that you can melt it down again. These 2 sheets of this cost £700, which is the price of metal these days. That's 0.7mm thick, but 18 carats heavier than 9 carats, a denser material. Maybe I can rig something up, maybe with a shoebox lid or something underneath to catch the falling material. This is some silver which I've cut roughly to size. I'm going to be cutting pieces out of this, and this is going to go around the outside of the movement, holding the movement still on the inside of the case. Also, I've got more of this. That was 10 by 10 centimetre square that I've cut this piece off. That other piece has gone for hallmark as well, because maybe I'm gonna, I like the thing to be dated so people know when it was made. Anyway, that is going to end up, I'm going to be using this for all manner of things. I've got a little bit of silver wire as well. Silver wire is maybe useful for riveting. Sometimes to get a good join, it's nice to drill a hole through something, put a piece of wire through it, and then solder the wire into it. You get a good firm join. Also, one advantage of that is if you remelt the solder that you've used in the case, the thing doesn't fall apart. It's still held by solid metal. Although I can't see that I'm going to have too many problems in that regard. I've got 3 different grades of silver. I've got medium, that runs at a medium temperature. Easy, that's got a lower melting point. And hard, which has the higher melting point. Not much cooler than the melting of the material, so it's hardest to solder with hard. I did have a look at charts with the melting points, because I've got multiple materials. I've got 18 carat white gold, 18 carat yellow gold, silver, and I've got 9 carat. 9 carat easy solder would have the lowest melting point, so it's possible that I'll use these 3 silver solders, and I might use a little spot of 9 carat easy solder when I'm putting the lugs on. But I'm a bit out of practice with soldering, but I'm pretty sure it's like riding a bike, so it should come back to me how to do this. 8 years ago I made a silver chess set which involved quite a lot of soldering, but I'm just using a basic torch, and this is good for chain solders and things which aren't very heavy. When you've got a big case, it's all the heat is being drawn away by the other materials. This might not be sufficient. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to buy a second affair. I know that Dremel make a blowtorch which is quite hot. Maybe the combination of a Dremel torch and this would be enough, but then if I buy a Dremel torch and it's not enough, I'll end up buying one with a gas and air supply, which is what I used to use. It's possible my friend's got a Micro World which he might be able to repair for me. That could get me out of trouble. Micro World's more expensive than a gas and air torch, but I like the gas and air is quite a usable combination, because you can get as mild or as tough flame as you want. Anyway, they're my materials.